Why do we tend to censor sex, nudity more strictly than violence? This is the reason why I have found the hot coffee controversy around GTA San Andreas really fucking stupid. A game where the plot is focused on themes like gang warfare, murder, drug trafficking, and basically every other feature GTA is notorious for is fine. Why I agree with people who think video games directly cause mass violence are fucking stupid. But consensual sex? That's too much. To quote George R.R. Martin, you can write the most detailed, vivid description of an axe entering a skull, and no one will say a word in protest, but if you write a similarly detailed description of a penis entering a vagina, you get letters from people saying they will never read you again. What the hell? Penises entering vaginas bring a lot more joy into the world than axes entering skulls. Remember Puritans and Quakers? It's weird though, because 1 out of every 2 music videos involves sex or something very close to it. I think it's 'cause society is weird as hell. I'm assuming this is referring to primarily American programming. And the answer is plain and simple. The States began as a puritanical society. Even though that was 400 years ago, that ideology is intrinsically enmeshed in many aspects of modern-day American life, such as societal, cultural norms, the government, and views on sexuality. Sex, aside from procreation, was viewed as a sinful act, and with it came an abundance of shame. That still exists and is perpetuated by one of the dominant political parties. On the other hand, why is violence essentially condoned? I don't readily know that answer. I would be interested in delving deeper into researching that part of the question. Because our society is dumb. Violence should be worse than sex, but here we are. I remember once watching part of Kill Bill on cable TV. And the part where the bride decapitates the Yakuza chief came up. They showed the whole beheading, including the prolonged footage of blood spurting out of the erect headless torso. But they censored the swear words in the bride's subsequent speech. So apparently watching an extremely gruesome death is okay. But God forbid the little ones hear a curse word. I've wondered this, too. The only thing I can think of is this quote by Jack Handey. I believe in making the world a safer place for our children. But not for our children's children. Because I don't believe that children should be having sex. No one has yet to mention the South Park movie. Graphic, deplorable, violent is okay as long as no naughty words are said. I think this same rule applies for nudity 100% in the minds of those people who have nothing better to do with their time. Said while wasting time on Reddit. Because we were founded by religious Puritans obsessed with violence and power. In Europe they don't give 2 shits about sex or nudity. It's quite the culture shock. Because the US was settled by Puritans. Religion is baked into our politics and thus our social mores on what is decent, indecent. Europe is not as uptight as the US about sex, nudity. I frankly would rather my kids see naked people having consensual sex than heads on pikes or whatever violence is being recklessly shown on TV, video games these days. Puritans. We were founded by mostly Puritans. They never had a problem with violence but had a very, very big problem with sex. And mostly with women in general. Violence is just a reality of life. Something that almost every person encounters and participates in. Sex, however, is rare. And young people need to be protected from it lest they grow to become violent and unstable adults who believe that objectifying and dehumanizing others for personal gain is the norm. Oh wait. Agreed completely. During the Vancouver Olympics, when the Georgian luge athlete crashed and inevitably died, they showed it in the news for like half a day before they realized, hey, so we just heard that. I guess it's kind of fucked up to play on repeat the accident that killed a 21 athlete today. I always thought that it was absolutely insane they show the close-up moment of a body flying in, going limp as it slams into a post, but do you think that they would show the Janet Jackson nipple slip from the Super Bowl during an entertainment section of the news? It's literally a nipple. Go to a beach and you'll see at least a dozen. Yes, they're just on men typically, but seriously. More offensive than a kid who died 3 hours ago? It's crazy to me. In Europe it's the opposite. Nudity is often shown on TV and so on. But many lines are drawn when it comes to violence and gore. Is it that we see a need to protect our kids from exposure to sex more than violence? Yes. There's tons of people that love debating this issue. But in short, the answer is, yes, society seems way more concerned about sex than violence. Great question and important for you Americans to figure out. But remember, Reddit is not just for and by Americans. We implies we as Redditors do this. And that is not correct at all. In most of Europe, people consider nudity to just be nudity, not necessarily something sexual. It's the opposite in Europe. Is it because sex is something a lot of people do, and a lot of other people want to do, but yet we don't talk about it in public because of old religious beliefs, etc.? While violence is, for most of us, fantasy which we don't experience and hope never to know. There is a book that talks about why fictional violence can actually be beneficial for children. Read Killing Monsters by Gerard Jones. Great book. It can contextualize why violence is less problematic than sexual content for young children, which might explain why censorship is more geared toward sexual content than violence.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.